Well, good afternoon. Ed Wagner Sr. here, and I'm going to assemble my my new Delta scroll saw. It's a model 4064, and it was just delivered about an hour ago. I would have started on it immediately, but I had other duties. It doesn't appear that it's going to be all that difficult to assemble. There are very few parts, and now I'm going to back the camera up so I can get the full thing in the frame, so I can frame the whole shot. And so let's back it up a little bit. There's just about everything that you need to see in the frame. I wish there was less junk in the background, but there is junk in the background. My chair and such. Well, that's just the way it is. So, there are very few parts. We've got the angle adjusting knob, which, let me turn the screen around, which is just an angle adjusting knob. It's a nice size. Looks like you get an easy grip on it. We've got the Trunnion, which is got nice big letters on it. I'm not so sure that, let me see if that'll focus on that. Probably did. And we have a Trunnion bolt, all right? And a small Trunnion washer. All right, so this Trunnion washer goes in this slot right here with this just like that, and that enables it to slide around very nicely. All right, so that's the first thing. Then there is, you'll probably find one of these, and what this is, this little gadget here has a little ball, spring-loaded ball on the end. That adjusts, that is so there's detents. There's one detent right here on the bottom of this saw. You see it right there where my finger is? All right, there's one detent right there. Now that detent catches in this ball right there. So this goes in this hole. So in order not to lose it, I'm going to put it in that hole first thing. It's done. Now I'm going to install the Trunnion on the table. Well, I've still got the table upside down, and I can more easily access the screws. All right, so if you can see in the camera, I think you can. There are two bolts for the Trunnion, and they each have, they're just small bolts. These are hex head, and they have these nice star lock washers on them. They're not installed, they come off, as you can see, so you have to put those on. One on each side. And then we use the hex head to run them down to where they just touch, because we're going to want to adjust this a little. Okay. So just run them down until they touch and back off just a pinch. Be my suggestion. Back them up just a pinch. Then, in the end of the table, there is a machine hole. It's pretty smooth on the inside. Now that machined hole, you flip this over, and that machined hole, there is a, maybe not can't see it in the camera, but there's a pin sticking out there with an O-ring on it. An O-ring just gives it a little pressure, I'm sure. All right, you slip that over the hole. You give it a bit of a push or two. There you go. As soon as it pops over that washer, you're home free. Now, the trunnion will sit where it's supposed to sit. Oops. I'm gonna have to back that up. Oh no, it's sitting there. Okay. Now on the back side of that trunnion, there's another collar that sits on top of a little shelf. Once you're there, you're there. It's home. Now, slide the saw out to where you can reach underneath. Don't slide it too far. Where you can reach underneath and slip this bolt through its hole. It's a little tricky, but it just takes a second. And there are shoulders back there to keep the nut from turning. Put the washer on. Hold your finger underneath there for just a minute. Put the washer on the correct way. Remember we showed you where this little tab that's sticking on that washer has to go in the groove. Over the bolt, in the groove. Handle goes on. And that tightens the trunnion. Now, we'll get into adjusting things, which I don't know if I even need to put that on the video because it's so simple. So now everything is installed that I'm going to install. Yeah. There is an upper guard or a lower guard that fits underneath here that goes on some screws underneath there, and there's this upper guard that slips into this apparatus here. I don't use them. I find they just get in my way. So now I did notice that there were a couple of loose screws. What do I do with that wrench? There it is. Because they where they were going to put these guards and stuff like that, there was a couple of loose screws here and there, and I thought, well, let me give this one here is going to take 1, 2, 3, and a half turns. They all have lock washers on them, so my recommendation would be to use only the leverage that the short direction will give you. There's no sense in over tightening these things. They all have lock washers on them. From what I understand, this machine runs fairly smooth. I doubt very seriously that anything is going to work itself loose. Tight. Okay, so it appears that everything except where they were going to put this probably OSHA crap on the saw, or litigation-proof stuff. Leave it off and bang up your fingers. Well, you can't sue anybody, so what? All right, now this is the air nozzle, obviously, and it seems to be a rather long one compared to my old saw. So this goes on right here. I put these on before and had a little bit of difficulty, so I came up with a solution to that difficulty. That knob is very tight, so I just get a pair of needle nose pliers, stick it on there, squeeze the pliers. Whoops, I said I would, right? There we go, snaps right on. Yeah, it puts a couple of marks in there, so what? Now that thing will adjust. I like it. It's longer than my last one. I can get it back this way. I can get it over here. And hopefully this saw will blow more air than my old Craftsman too. Now, the first thing I did when I got the saw was I took the table out into my workbench in the garage, and I've got a nice orbital sander, and I put 40 grit sandpaper on it, and I sanded the top because it was a little rough. It's not perfectly smooth now, but I can almost guarantee you that this thing is perfectly flat. I took a straight edge to it, and end to end it's flat, cross to cross it's flat. Don't worry about that 40 grit. I could have used 5 grit on it. That 40 grit didn't take out all the little swirls from the machining process. It just took out some of them, knocked the tops off, and I don't think I took off even a 10,000th. I called my brother, who's a pretty handy hobby machinist, and asked him how much 40 grit would take off of this cast iron. And he says, well, not much. I doubt you would even be able to measure how much it took off. So don't worry about that. If you want to smooth it up, do that. I put a couple of coats of non-silicone car wax on it, let it glaze over, rub it off, buff it up. Yeah, it's good to go. So now, the trunnion, except for adjusting, I do have to, see, I got some little adjusting there, and that's why I left those bolts loose, so the thing could slide back where it belongs. And it looks like it's going to settle in right about there. Yeah, I'm going to push it back and then tighten those bolts. So now that we've got this, tighten this nut on the trunnion adjustment. Then the fun part, I think I'll install a blade, which I haven't done on this saw yet. I see guys on TV doing it, or on YouTube doing it with very easily. Now what I do with those, they did provide me with 2 blades. I don't know what brand they are, but something tells me that this is going to be slicker than snot. Got the arm lift on it. Drop this in that hole. Now, how far down do I want to go? Boy, that just, it must be a shoulder right there somewhere that you rest this blade on. I've never done it on this saw before. Okay, let's try the top first. Doesn't appear to be a shoulder here either. Well, that's weird. So, drop this down. Okay, got the tension clear off. Oh, okay. All right. Push the blade over. I'm going to run it a little bit higher. It looks like I could, and then that'll kind of make sure if I'm using the reverse blades, which I like to use, to put those reverse blades a little closer to the top. Now, that's done. Now I'm going to tension the blade a little, and now I'm going to eyeball this table to where this hole in the table is centered on the blade. That's pretty good right there. Then, I don't think you need to get any measuring instruments out or anything like that to do this. Get underneath the table, feel around with your fingers till you find those bolts again. There they are. There's one. And put the Allen wrench in the hole. If you're like me, you may need a little help with that. I see the bolt, but well, when you're wearing trifocals, sometimes you're just better off to feel for it than you are to. And I've got the wrong wrench. That's part of the problem. I've got that Torx, and I need the hex. I'm having a bit of a trouble. There we go, got it. Okay, now I'm going to look back here And that is close. That's right on the money. Okay, so tighten this up. Snug. There again. I don't think you need any more leverage than this part of the wrench. If I'm wrong, well, maybe some of you guys know more about this than I do. But I'm not going to crank it down so tight that I break something. Oh, got the other one easier. Yeah, maybe I will give it just a little bit more on each side because it didn't feel that tight. Felt like I could go a little bit more. Those had lock washers on them too, so the chances of those things working loose is slim to none. Well, you know what? That's tight enough. Works loose, I'll tighten it up. So now that is done. Let's see if it runs halfway smooth and how much air comes out of that. I'm kind of curious about this whole thing. That's it. That's all the parts that go on it. Never had a scroll saw this nice yet. Okay, she's plugged in. All right. Well, here's the variable speed. What's this do? I don't know what that does. Oh, that's the variable speed. This is the tension. Okay. That's on, if I read that right, that's on 4. And it goes up to 5.5. Oh, listen to that baby. That's high. Nothing could be smoother than that. There's low. That's supposed to be 450 stroke or 400 strokes per minute. There's 1,750 strokes a minute. A little vibration. But I can find a sweet spot right there. I don't know if I could do a nickel test on this. Not sitting on this floppy table. I think if it was anchored down to my to the table that my Craftsman's on right now, I think we'd be in good shape. Now, one thing I did like about the Craftsman, in the circuitry, it had a delay to where this didn't. The minute you hit it, it didn't just start right up. It started up about 1.5 seconds later, which was a really cool feature. But this saw is going to operate so much more smoothly, I don't know that I'll need that feature. Well, that's it for the installation. That's it for the assembly of this Craftsman or Delta scroll saw. It's a big one. I've got to build a new top for my bench for my stand that my Craftsman's on, because this is 4 inches bigger. The old Craftsman's a 16 inch. This is a 20. This has got more power, a bigger table, deeper throat. I love the Delta for the fact that the arm raises and stays put. You just lift it up and there it is. You got to push that little button back there. That's not a problem. Something that its twin brother, the Dewalt, doesn't have. Apparently, they're made by the same company. A lot of the parts are interchangeable. So I thought for $175 cheaper, I think the Delta would be just fine. Oh, it has this little storage thing up here for blades. Probably not too valuable, but you know, a nice touch. It's something the Orientals do, is they like their cars and stuff. They put little bells and whistles on things. I'll probably use it. I'll probably put some blades up there. Why not? or something. Well, thanks for watching. I'll do another video on this saw when I get my Craftsman off of the table and this installed on it. And maybe I'll bring the Craftsman in and set it next to this, and then do a video on putting this on the table after I get it all set to do the holes pre-drilled and all that, so you don't have to watch all the nonsense of the stuff that anybody can do. Anybody can figure out where to put a hole. Squaring up the blade and adjusting there's a little adjustment there to adjust the pointer on the angle thing on the trunnion. You know, I mean, come on. You don't need to watch somebody do that. That's it. Thank you for watching. And so far, I am very pleased with my purchase. Thank you.